This is The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Nguni. This week, a local newspaper, name withheld, told us that SGR is a railway to nowhere. And they picked this line straight from the stinky basket of colonial insults. Yes, over 100 years ago, the colonizers insulted us. They told us that Nairobi, or what was known as Mile 326, was nothing but a swamp. A swamp infested by snakes, frogs, slime, and naked Africans. It was nowhere. And the railway from Mombasa to Nairobi was nothing but a lunatic experiment, a railway to nowhere. Then one English MP called Henry Labouchere mocked the railway, saying, "What it will cost, no words can express. What is its object, no brain can suppose. Where it will start from, no one can guess. Where it is going to, nobody knows. What is the use of it? None can conjecture. What it will carry, none can define. It is clearly nothing but a lunatic express." 100 years later, a national newspaper has repeated this colonial insult. They called us a nation of lunatics, a swamp of snakes, frogs, and Africans, a nowhere. And if this insult annoyed you, you do not understand a house nigger.
According to Malcolm X, the slaves were divided into two: the field nigger and the house nigger. The field nigger was a laborer in the plantations. The house nigger was a cleaner or a cook in the master's house. The field nigger became a maker of things. He made revolutions. He saw the impossible and then asked, why not? He achieved the unthinkable. He became the liberator. But the house nigger was a hater of self. He was taught to hate his mother, to compare his mother with another mother, and to hate his origins, his color, and his red gums. He became a man only because he practiced hate. Our media is run by hate merchants, people conditioned to hate their mothers, conditioned to compare their mothers with other mothers, to compare Kenya with Ethiopia and DRC, and to embrace the Ethiopian mother and find faults in the Kenyan mother. But to practice self-hate, the house nigger became a merchant of lies. He could not hate his mother without lying to himself that the Ethiopian mother is better than his. And if he could lie to himself, he had no problem lying to his country.
The colonial railway to nowhere had Mzungu field niggers and Mzungu house niggers. The Mzungu house niggers called it a lunatic experiment, an iron snake that goes through a swamp called Mile 326, or later known as Nairobi, and nothing good could come out of it. But the Mzungu field niggers disagreed. These are the men who supervised the laying of the railway. They dodged the man-eaters of the Tsavo and the stinging mosquitoes of the savannah. Then, one of them declared, "It is not uncommon for a country to build a railway, but it is uncommon for a railway to build a country." Real railways are not built by countries. Real railways build countries. Their message to the Mzungu house niggers was therefore this: man who says it cannot be done should not interrupt man doing it. Man saying it is a railway to nowhere should not interrupt man creating Nairobi from a swamp which was created by the railway. And this is the message we send to the house niggers in the newspapers that called us a nation of lunatics this week. If your newspaper cannot build a railway, you should not interrupt man doing it.
The house niggers in the media survive through lies. They lied that a Turkish company manufactured a ferry for Kenya for twice the price of a ferry they manufactured for Tanzania. But evidence from the Turkish company reveals that they manufactured a ferry for Kenya. Yes, but they have never manufactured a ferry for Tanzania ever. This was a big fat lie. Then they lied that our SGR was more expensive than that of Ethiopia and DRC. But they did not compare locations and price. The Ethiopia SGR is like building a house in Umoja, and the SGR in DRC is like building a house in Matopeni East. If the Kenya SGR is a house in Kileleshwa, the price will be different, of course, but they are all SGR. Moreover, the Ethiopia SGR has only fenced out the terminals, but Kenya has fenced out the entire SGR corridor from Mombasa to Nairobi. And DRC has no money to buy a fence. Similarly, the Ethiopia SGR has 200 crossroads, but the Kenya SGR has 0 crossroads. It is express from Nairobi to Mombasa. If the house niggers from the media are conditioned to hate country, they will not reveal these comparisons. The comparisons tell the price differences, period.
And now, a random thought. It is about BBI, SGR, and the Kikuyus. Some Kikuyu MPs are saying that BBI is a railway to nowhere. Yet, the BBI report has not been released. Why are they discussing a report that does not exist? In our view, they are simply exchanging ignorance. But there are 2 more things. If Ruto has told these MPs that BBI is a railway to nowhere, he must check some Kikuyu ground truths. 1, you cannot buy a Kikuyu MP. You can only rent one. Once rent is over, the next tenant gets in. Ruto should therefore enjoy his tenancy before a richer Kikuyu tenant makes an offer. That is the ground truth. 2, if you take a hyena and a goat to the marketplace, which of the 2 will attract crowds? Of course, a hyena will attract more people in a market than a goat. However, what will the shoppers take home? The hyena or the goat? Of course, they will take the goat home. We told this to Raila, and we want to tell it to Ruto as well. Crowds led by Kikuyu MPs mean absolutely nothing. These Kikuyus know what they will take home. Be afraid, very afraid.